Hi, I'm Nalini, and this video is for October 2025 and the transitional phase that the planet and we are in at the moment. The equinox created a huge implosion of all the particles of ourselves. Gaia is doing the same thing, like drawing toward herself everything that has been an emanation of hers. And then there's a reconfiguration, a recalibration, a squishing and reforming. It's what my hands are doing of everything that is for right now. This is a retuning of Gaia's heartstrings. I love that image. I love it that she gave it to me to share with you. As she tunes, so do we. And at one point, I was actively pursuing doing field tuning with some of my students, meaning this is how we use sound, light, color, images to retune ourselves. Mantras have always done the same thing. Sutras have always done the same thing. Music, for however it resonates with each of us, does the same thing. We are the tuning forks of the divine on this planet, as are the trees, the stones, the creature beings. And we each resonate and radiate a certain frequency, a certain harmony with life and of life. And October, being a very intensely meditative month, it's very inward drawn, is a refocusing, a retuning of all of that. What are we actually vibrating? How are we vibrating? How are we resonating? What tonalities are flowing from us? To us will be everything and its brother, but what harmonies are flowing through us? And is that what we want to be radiating? Okay. When I was at school, one of my music teachers accused me with a grin on her face of writing Bach chorales in composition class because those harmonies are just so delicious to my body. And of course, I had to learn other things as well. But where is that deliciousness for you? We each have our resonant frequencies. We have a palette, an array, a keyboard, so to speak, of what sounds good to us, what feels good to us, and whether it's this hurts or that hurts, and which set of frequencies sounds and feels good. Some of that's habit. I mean, there isn't a musician in the world who doesn't know concert pitch. And is that changing, or does that feel good to us, or both, or all three? And this is what we're going through right now, this inner tuning, this complete recalibration of the tuning fork that we are. And do others affect us? Well, yes, there's a principle of entrainment, especially known in music, where say you have two tuning forks and one of them is calibrated to the key of D major and one of them is calibrated to the key of G major, and I use those simply because they harmonize well. If the key of D major fork is planted, grounded, and the G is just next to it, maybe even planted, and D is struck, begins to vibrate, begins to radiate that frequency, the fork that has been calibrated to a different note will start to resonate as D. Now, this is how we are affected vibrationally by others, spoken from one musician to many, many others. Whether we are using toning or humming or the kazoo or any instrument we might be playing, which is really ourselves, how we radiates through our instrument, there is an entrainment going on. One of the early examples of this that I absolutely loved came from a book I read by Maureen O'Hara, and in it was just a small passage where this woman had been gifted a piano. And rather than just start in and putting up the music and remembering what she knew how to play, which is how most of us would approach it, she just went to the deep registers and started playing a fifth, major C to G, just over and over, coaxing out the voice of the piano. And I have always just loved that image, because this is what we do with and for ourselves as we awaken. You know, we go through awakenings. We have an awakening. We think, oh, that's enlightenment. And then we learn. And then we have an awakening and we think, oh, that must be it. And then we learn. And we keep having these awakenings. And it's what some teachers call going back and forth across the shoreline of self or no self. And it's really neither. It's all of it. Because each role we play, each piece we play on whatever instrument, we become something different, not other, but different. And we start to integrate all of these. That's the point of this lifetime. It's field tuning. It's becoming the resonance of integration, which stems from the heart, from kindness, first to ourselves, and that's where we're usually lacking, and then to what is the harmony here? What is the harmonic tonality that works in this moment, that feels good? That's how you know it works. If it feels good. So what feels good to you in a certain moment? And not a reactive moment, not, well, I want to smash this or that because it smashed me or because I'm irritated. That's reactivity. That's not harmony. What is the harmony? I mean, that reactivity happens and we need to work through it. But what is the harmony that flows in any and every situation? October is ripe for honing this, for doing deep internal fine-tuning, the implosion that was the equinox of all particles of existence, everything we've ever been and ever will be, as though there were linear time. That's coming out in this exquisite sacred geometry, which is how the world functions. And we have the flower of life image, and thanks to Drunvalo for the exposition of that. There are infinite permutations of this, all palettes, all resonances, and what really is in harmony in any moment, not with something else necessarily, because that's how we think of harmony, but internally. How are we internally harmonized? How are we inwardly tuned? That is the frequency that we resonate. That is the vibration that we send out into the world, like those tuning forks. And it mixes with all the others, whether we ask it to or not. And so maybe consider, I'm considering this at the moment, what is the vibration that's radiating from this tonality, from this singularity, from this instrument? And without attaching a value judgment to my observations, is it harmonious? Does it function in an emerging reality of which we know nothing at this point? We will know how it feels. We will know how that deep tonality feels. And that is our guide. That is our essence talking to us. That is what we are. And I encourage you to use this month and its alignments, not just to discover that, but to become it, to be that, live that, play that role. Why not? We don't know what will happen, but the more authentic we are, the more we are within our own source essence, the more true to that we vibrate, the better everything will proceed. Have a wonderful month.